It wasn't supposed to be like this. Marcus sat in the hospital hallway, staring blankly at the pale green tiles under his shoes. The world felt blurry, as if time had stopped, but pain hadn't. He had just stepped out of ICU room 314, where his wife Leah lay unconscious, a ventilator hissing rhythmically beside her. It had been 17 days of watching machines keep her alive, 17 days of prayers that felt like throwing stones into the ocean, 17 days of silence from heaven. He had begged, bargained, wept. He laid hands on her when no one was looking. He quoted scripture in a whisper like a soldier reciting a code. He told God, "I know you can, so why won't you?" The silence was the only reply. He opened his Bible on his lap, but the words didn't feel alive the way they used to. He tried to sing worship songs under his breath, but they cracked in his throat. He wondered, was he losing his faith? A soft voice beside him startled him. "You haven't eaten," came the gentle words of Leah's younger sister, Anna, as she offered him a warm paper cup of broth. "Not hungry," Marcus replied, eyes still distant. Anna sat beside him. "She wouldn't want you to break down like this," Marcus sighed. "She wouldn't want to be in that bed either." They sat in silence. Anna prayed under her breath. Marcus didn't join. That night, when he returned home, the apartment felt cold, too clean, too still. Everything reminded him of her. Her mug beside the sink, her favorite hoodie on the chair, the soft humming of the worship playlist she always forgot to turn off. He collapsed on the couch, clenched his fists, and whispered, "God, I did everything right. We served you. We tithed. We forgave people who broke us. We prayed before every decision. We helped strangers. We lived simply so we could give more. So why?" This, the silence in the room pressed in deeper. Tears finally fell. Not loud ones. Just quiet, exhausted, aching drops that carried more weight than words ever could. Marcus didn't realize he had fallen asleep, with the Bible still open on his chest. Psalm 13. "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" He blinked at the page. For the first time in days, he didn't feel alone. Not comforted yet, but understood. That morning, he walked into the hospital with heavy eyes and a slightly straighter back. Not because anything had changed, but because the Word had reminded him that even David, the man after God's heart, had wrestled with the silence too. On the way to room 314, a nurse stopped him. "There's a woman waiting for you in the chapel," she said. Said her name's Sarah. She asked for you by name. Marcus didn't recognize the name, but curiosity led him down the hall. There she was, an older woman, maybe in her 60s. She looked familiar somehow. As he entered, she stood and smiled gently. "You don't know me," she began, "but I knew Leah years ago. She volunteered in a soup kitchen I used to manage. We spoke about God once. Actually, more than once. She told me you were studying for ministry. She always said, 'My husband's not just a man of God. He's a man who trusts God.' Marcus, look down," she continued. "She used to tell people, 'If ever I suffer, I hope Marcus prays.' Not because he has perfect words, but because he keeps showing up." He swallowed hard. The woman placed a hand on his arm. "Silence doesn't mean you're weak in faith. It might mean God trusts you enough to let you walk without answers. Yet." Then she turned and walked out, leaving Marcus stunned. That night, he prayed again. Not loud, not long, just honest. "God, I'll still be here tomorrow." He meant it, No conditions, just surrender. And the next day, he showed up again. He read to Leah from her favorite book. He whispered scriptures into her ear. He told her about the clouds that morning, about how the trees outside the window looked like they were reaching up in worship. Still, she didn't wake. But something else awakened in him, a deeper faith, not one built on results but on relationship, not just trust in what God could do, but trust in who he was. Weeks passed, then one day, no warning, no sign. Leah blinked. She turned her head slightly. Then her lips trembled, forming the whisper, "Marcus?" He fell to his knees beside her, weeping, laughing, praising. Words failed him, but heaven heard anyway. Recovery was slow, but miraculous. Every step forward felt like holy ground. Her lungs healed. Her voice returned. One day she sang again. And together, in a small church by a quiet hillside months later, Marcus preached his first sermon since her coma. He didn't preach on miracles. He preached on silence. "I used to think silence meant God was distant," he said from the pulpit. "Now I believe silence sometimes means God is closer than ever. He just wants to see if we trust him in the dark." He looked out over the crowd. Some nodded. Some cried. "Sometimes," he said, voice cracking, "God doesn't speak because he trusts you to keep walking. And for those still waiting, still hurting, still begging for answers," he closed with this. "If you're in a silent season, don't mistake it for abandonment. Don't let your feelings define God's faithfulness. He sees, he knows, he loves. And when the time is right, his voice will break the silence like dawn breaking the night." After the benediction, as people began to leave, a young woman lingered behind. "Pastor Marcus," she whispered, "I've been praying for a sign. I haven't heard God in months. I thought he forgot me." Marcus gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Maybe he didn't forget," he said softly. "Maybe he's just trusting you with silence."